What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show recap with Mo, where we're getting ready to get into another episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Sistas. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit snit that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is Season 7, Episode number 6, titled Pretty Hurts. Now, the synopsis states that the ladies talk about their life in their 30s, while Fatima keeps a secret from Zach. Meanwhile, Gary tests the waters with Tamara. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Alright, so we kicked this episode off with Andi at the crib, and we see Danny coming in. Now, let me just pause for a moment. Danny, with this outfit? I don't know what she got strapped across the top. Listen, Danny, whatever you got going on, in therapy is working. You are glowing, girl. Anyhow, let me get back on this thing, man. So Danny comes in and they are all meeting up over at Andi's crib to celebrate Sabrina's 35th birthday, right? So when all the sisters are in the building, they all are just super excited about being around one another once again. And they start to talk about some of the things that they've been going through. So Andi mentions Robin, with all the stuff that's going on in her life right now. She feels pretty good where she is with her situation with Jordan. Everything is progressing in the way that she believes it should. But also on the flip side, with her, her job and her position, potentially trying to become partner, she feels it's a little heavy on that end due to the fact that Robin is not in the picture right now. And that's a good question. Like, where in the hell is Robin? We haven't seen dude in a while. So I know he was going to get some money, and now we haven't heard anything from him. So that's just pretty strange to me. But anyhow, going on from there, Danny talks about, her situation going through therapy. She mentions an app that deals with erotic stories or whatnot that helps her, deal with a lot of the things that she's going through. She mentioned Jonah, she mentioned Preston, and overhearing what she was going through and how she's coping with it, Karen was like, shit, I need to get on that as well. Definitely with, Zach requesting a DNA test and all of this stuff. And Danny is like, so do you not believe that he's, welcome to request, a DNA test at any time? And she was like, oh, so you on his team, right? And from Danny's perspective, it's just, let's do the right thing. We already know mama's baby, daddy maybe. We already know it's your child. You're carrying the child, but we need to discern who's the baby's father, right? And let's just do the right thing. So anyhow, moving on from right there, we start to talk about Sabrina, or they start to talk about Sabrina. See, I'm putting myself in the story, right? But every time I see Sabrina, like that mocha brown, brown skin, I love your brown skin. Need some every now and then. Like, every time I see her, it's like sweet poetry, man. Listen to me, man. Beautiful woman. All of these ladies are beautiful. But it's just something for me, like Danny mentioned, embracing her natural. You see what I'm saying? And to all my ladies out there, there's nothing wrong with the natural. You see what I'm saying? Like, God made you that way. Be who you are. And I know there are some clowns out there that say, oh, no, don't know. Listen, all real is out there don't care nothing about what they talking about out there in the streets. You see what I'm saying? Anyhow, let's move on because I could talk about that all day. Anyhow, they talk about some of the things that they like about Sabrina, her loyalty, how she stood up for Maurice, making sure that he had a way out, pretty much a get out of jail free pass. You see what I'm saying? She did not allow her good friend to rot in prison. And then, Karen mentions, something about being a mother and all of this. And then Sabrina begins to cry. And I'm like, please don't cry. Because if you cry, I cry. We cry together. You see what I'm saying? And I said, no, we're not going to do this. And she pretty much confirms that she really wants to be a mother. But unfortunately, the way she's going about it with Rich, who has already conveyed to her that that's not what he wants. So she's deciding right here and now that she's going to freeze her eggs, and one day she's going to discern what she wants to do. But unfortunately, she cannot wait on this man to give her what she wants. All right. So we can have a whole different discussion about why, but it is what it is. That's what she wants. She's always wanted to be a mother. Of course, Danny and others don't agree. Like, why? Why allow yourself to be a mother and be burdened with this, this baby? Like, why? But some women, not all, but some women really want to be mothers. So don't take that away from her, Danny, if that's your friend. So anyhow, moving on from there, talking about friends, we head over to the gym where we see Hayden and Gary at the gym. So Gary goes over to speak to Hayden as Hayden, who's working out by himself. Gary goes over there to speak to him. And when he goes over there, Hayden is looking at him like, man, you good? Gary's like, what you talking about? So he mentions his nostril is bleeding. Now, Gary's like, oh, no, man, you know how sometimes, you get overheated and all this. No. Nah, bro. Listen, I think Hayden knows what's going on. The way he was looking at him, knowing Gary, like, I'm assuming that Hayden knows what's going on with Gary, just isn't saying anything. But anyhow, going on with the conversation, while Hayden is talking, he mentions Tamara. Gary's like, hold on, man. I know you ain't still talking about this gold digger. Yes, he's talking about that gold digging ass wife. Yes, he is. The woman that he actually loves. All right? Through thick and thin, Gary. Do you understand that, my boy? And I can go ahead and answer that right now. Absolutely not. Because this man is only concerned about what concerns him, nobody else. All right? So at the end of the day, I see why these two are good friends. They both think alike. And Hayden is like, look, we need to work to get your girl out of the picture because we need to find out how I can become partner by any means necessary. Gary's like, okay, let's go ahead and put our heads together and make this shit work. So moving on from there, we see Sabrina going over to talk to Maurice. Now, Maurice is entertaining, I guess, his audience with a cupcake. Now, I don't know exactly what he was doing with that cupcake, but obviously the people that he was entertaining was enjoying the cupcake. But anyhow, going on from there, Maurice tells her about his date that he had with Grayson the other night, how he really enjoyed it. And I guess he can see himself, working or dealing with Grayson, later on down the line. Sabrina, on the other hand, asked him about Calvin. And I'm like, Like, all of a sudden, now you want to talk about Calvin? Now, when Calvin was trying to holler at you, now you upset because the brother didn't call you on your birthday. And Maurice was like, yeah, he came around, he paid his portion of the rent, and then he left. But you don't need to be worried about him. Right, Maurice? You don't need to be worried about Calvin because you got rich. All right? So you rich right now, in love with Rich. Be that. Don't worry about Calvin, all right, with his white woman. All right, so moving on. She goes on to tell him that she's decided to freeze her eggs. Maurice is like, you mean like freeze? Like ice? Like vanilla ice? That's what we doing? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, well, it is what it is, essentially. And, Maurice goes ahead and he serenades her with his best version of Happy Birthday along with the toy, right? And then she was like, oh, those cupcakes, can I have one? He was like, no, you don't want those. No, you don't want those cupcakes. And for me, Sabrina just doesn't get some of the things that just should be gotten, all right? And I'm saying that in the best way I can. But, when he said, no, you don't want those cupcakes, something on them, you don't want, these are special cupcakes. Well, what's wrong with them? Like acorns? Like what? What you talking about? Like, Sabrina, come on now. You beautiful, but listen, we got to do better, sister. So moving on from there, we head over to the law office where we see Zach and Fatima sitting on one side of the table. We see Andi on the other side, and Zach is tearful with tears of joy right now because he's been granted full custody of his son, Michael. So, we foresaw this coming We just didn't know when it was going to come, but I'm glad that he's actually, gotten this far, and he's actually going to, be able to take care of his son and take full custody of his son, Michael. And he asked Andi, when would this actually take place? She tells him in a few days or whatnot. So he's super, super excited. But while he's talking to Andi, Fatima receives a message or an email or something like that, notifying her of something that's going on. Of course, we don't know what it is at that time, but from her facial expression and her body language, obviously it was something that really has her concerned, because Zach is good, Andi is good, everybody's celebrating except for Fatima. So I'm like, damn, what is going on? So even Zach can tell something is going on with Fatima, and he asked her, are you good? She was like, yeah, I'm good. And then he was like, yeah, you're going to be a great mother. You're going to be this, you're going to be that. You might have to trade in your car. You might have to get a minivan. And I ain't even going to lie, man. He get one of those little Odysseys or that little Chrysler. Shit, man, them things are, I don't know. Them things are nice. I tried to talk my wife into getting one, and she wasn't having it. She was like, no, sir, I'm not trading in my SUV for one of those. I was like, shit, I might have to get one myself. Still have yet to do it. Anyhow, moving on from there, we head over to the airport where we see Danny, who actually called out of work for the day, showing up to the workplace to spend a little one-on-one time with Tony, which she thought she was going to do one-on-one, but unfortunately it became 1-on-1 equals 4, right? Because soon as she started to reveal herself and take everything off, in walks 2 kids, a boy and a girl, Junior, and I forget the girl's name, but she was like, who are these people? Like, we need to report. Like, we need to call HR. Now, we don't need to call HR because, remember, you called out of work for being, sick, I guess. So I don't think you can call HR at this point. But, yeah, these are my kids, Daddy. And she was like, okay, so I thought they, stay with their mom, your ex-wife. He was like, well, they do, but, right now she needs me, and I'm actually going to watch them for the summer. So I stand corrected. She obviously does know about the kids. The only thing is she didn't know they were getting ready to stay for the summer. All right, so I was partially correct. But anyhow, going on from there, she was like, look, oh boy, what's his name? Junior. Junior said, are those real? Talking about them things at the top. And I was like, yeah, like you always got them out. And people, listen, Danny, you can't be mad at the young man for asking a question if you got him out served up. All right. So anyhow, you got him served up. So what you think he's supposed to ask? So anyhow, she gonna harp on Tony talking about you raising him right. Listen. Let me move on before I get in trouble, man. So moving on from there, we head over to Karen's new salon, where we see Karen walking up in there, and then she's welcomed with a line at the daggone door, right? So Karen comes in like, what the hell is going on? Pam up there counting the dough, people dropping off the money, receiving merchandise, and Karen is like, what's going on? And she was like, listen, did you see the video that I sent to you? Karen is like, yeah, I saw you popping on the handstand in my salon and all that stuff with your girl. She was like, no, I'm selling products. Like, all them people that were watching, they showing up. And she was like, is this even legal? Like, do you even have a license to sell? Now, that is my question. Like, what if these people start using this product and it comes back on your new salon? And then she up here using your credit card. She talking about it's an investment? Hell to the no. Like, what we doing? Like, I thought you were using your own business line of credit that you got previously. But now, I guess you had to mass produce. And then we see Brother Trey coming out of nowhere. Once again, is he the only daggone delivery guy that comes to this hearing? I was like, too many questions. So many questions. But anyhow, he trying to spit game to Karen, and Karen's like, well, I appreciate the compliment. Well, I appreciate the compliment again. But she ain't trying to go there right now, bro. Just hold on, let her drop this babe, and then maybe you can come back. Maybe that's what you need to do. Just hold off a little bit. Hold off. But anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to the law firm where we see Andi coming to go see Fatima. Now, Fatima is in her office. She still is bothered. She looks bothered. Andi is like, look, everything is good. I'm getting ready to roll out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But Andi didn't come in there to chit-chat. What she came in there to find out is what's going on with you. Because I could tell something is going on. What is it? Now, can I be honest with y'all? Now, the look that she gave when Zach was in the other room, this didn't merit that. Like, I was confused as hell. Like, why in the heck are you looking like you lost your dog or some shit, like your best friend or something? Like, I thought it was something way more serious. But if it's just that you got accepted into law school, sis, you should be celebrating that. And then you should have told Zach that. I'm quite sure that he would have been celebrating you as well at that moment. Like, real dudes, when we're in relationships with our queens, man, we celebrate one another. Even if we got shit going on right here, I'm man enough to say, shit, let me put this down real quick and celebrate this queen. And Zach would have, I feel honestly that he would have done that at that moment. So, like Andi stated, like, go ahead and tell this dude, like, he gonna be good. And as a matter of fact, he should want to celebrate you and assist you in this time because you're doing great things for yourself, something that you've always wanted to do. And it made me think about the time when my wife was getting her master's at the time. And when she needed my assistance to help her with her final project and little things throughout that time, it was nothing for me to put down what I was working on from work, whatever it was, and say, okay, what you need me to do, babe? Like, because this makes us better. So anyhow, moving on from there, when Andi actually leaves from Fatima's office, Hayden walks up on Andi in the hallway talking about, oh, you getting ready to leave or something? Like, you busy? She was like, yeah, I'm actually getting ready to leave. He was like, oh, yeah, I know you got to stand by a man or some shit like that. Or, that little messy shit, right? And then he was like, well, I got work to do around here. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, obviously that puts something in her head or whatnot because Andi immediately calls Jordan to convey to him that she's not going to be able to make it tonight. And he was like, no, do what you need to do. Like, I know I got a pretty powerful woman over here doing her thing, trying to become partner. They placed you on a new case. I got you. I'm about to do my business over here and we could talk later. We good. She's like, look, I appreciate you being supportive. Thank you for being understanding. Woo, woo, woo. And that's all we can do. Anyhow, moving on from there. Before they get off the phone, Brother Jordan sits up here and utters the L word to Andi. Andi didn't know what to do with it. He pitched it at her. She didn't know how to swing. She didn't know if she wanted to swing at it. She just said, look, I gotta go. And then she got up off the phone. And Jordan didn't know what to do with it. He just sat there and he just looked at the phone a little bit, but that's all that he could do, right? So going on from there, we head over to Zach and Fatima's crib where we see Fatima coming down the steps into the kids zone. Literally, right? Zach done bought all his old shit. I don't know where he got it from, but he got the whole living room looking like a, We Are Kids zone, right? So he got the old Etch-a-Sketch. He got all this stuff out. Fatima's like, Zach, you going a little bit overboard. And I do agree to a certain extent, bro. Like, you're doing a little bit too much early, too soon for me because I'm going to be honest with you. I think this whole situation with Tyler Perry and his script writers, man, they setting you up, bro. I know you don't know it, but damn it, they setting you up. I just got that feeling. But anyhow, you do what you want to do. And he don't move Fatima's, computer and her workspace and all of this stuff out of the way for Michael's stuff. And she was like, look, I can't work like this. Like, I need you to do something. So anyhow, when he leaves, because he receives a phone call from, Bryce, telling him about a property that he needs him to come and see tonight. And he was like, don't worry about it. I'll be back in time for, dinner or whatnot, because you'll have stuff done on the stove or whatnot. She was like, who told you I was cooking? He was like, oh, somebody got to do the cooking around here now that, we're, a family. And I was like, okay. So when he leaves, Fatima calls her girlfriend Angela to come over so she can talk it out. and, get the stress off of her chest as well. So going on from there, we head over to Hayden house where we see Tamara getting the food together, got the house smelling good, putting all the stuff out. And we see Hayden coming up from behind to surprise her. She was like, when did you get here? Like, you startled me. He was like, well, I came through the garage or whatnot. So anyhow, while she's talking to him, they talking about, making up and working their relationship out. And I was like, okay, that's good. That puts Hayden in a good place, headspace or whatnot. And here we go with a knock on the door. And it just so happens to be Gary's ass with his wife, Penelope, or soon-to-be wife, Penelope, right? So she comes in, and of course, Tamara is not happy or pleased to see Hayden as Gary at this moment, right? And she was like, why is he here? And he was like, is this how you talk to your guests? Yes, to guests that tried to put an end to my schemes. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Anyhow, he was like, well, I would like something to drink. She was like, no. Do you want something to drink, Penelope? Yeah, give me some water. Okay, I'll go get you some water. But this right here, you on your own, man. So anyhow, as, Penelope goes over there to sit down at the table, Tamara goes off to get her something to drink. Gary comes over to Hayden, and Hayden is like, look, we need to step our game up. Andi just won that case for Zach or whatnot. Gary's like, shit, anybody could have won that. She was a crackhead. Like, it wasn't nothing. A clown could have done that one. So if a clown could have done that one, why couldn't have? I'm going to leave it alone, because wasn't Hayden the one working on this case? And he couldn't win it. So I'm a little concerned. You putting your faith in this brother right here. Anyhow, moving on from there, Gary's like, look, man, what you need is a big fish. Like somebody that's going to draw the headlines or whatnot. And Hayden is looking at Gary like, look, man, after all the shit that I done been through with you, with the FBI and all this stuff, like, I'm a little concerned. Like, I don't need no more issues. I'm just saying. So anyhow, going on from there, we head back over to Zach and Fatima's crib where we see Angela is now over there talking to Fatima about what she's going through. Fatima tells her that she got accepted into, law school, and, they got full custody over Michael, and now there's one in a possible because of the whole Karen situation. She really doesn't know where that's going to turn out. And then, she really wants kids of her own. So that's a whole different situation. And now she's thinking about going to school. She doesn't want to lose her dreams or sight of her dreams at this moment. And, I get that. She doesn't want to lose herself in this man and then potentially 2 baby mothers in the same year. So, I get it. I definitely get it. And let me just say this. Miss Angela, girl, you, man, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Man, listen, let me move on, man. Next we see Karen. Now, Karen is at the hospital looking for a doctor to, find out who's the baby's father. Like, instead of just scheduling a time for her to come in along with Zach to do it then and there, she has to go in and sit down with somebody because she wants to figure out who's the baby's father, right? So we see in the next episode that's coming up that she actually has a date scheduled. So I just saw that as being backwards. But anyhow, moving on from there, we head back over to Hayden's crib where we see Gary and the whole team, or crew rather, having a discussion and talking about helping, Hayden to become partner, woo, woo, woo. While they're in the midst of the conversation, Gary receives a phone call talking about, hey, man, we almost got him. And he's like, look, man, we need this to go through because, the girl has already been paid. So I'm like, damn, like he's going ahead and moving on for, and that's just crazy because you dealing with this man's sister and you trying to sabotage his, like, it's just crazy just to get back at Andi, right? So Hayden leaves. Penelope has to go to the bathroom, but Hayden shows her how to get to the bathroom or whatnot. And so now Gary is talking to Tamara and he's all up on her. I was like, I don't like how this is looking right now because we know Gary is not able to contain himself. So I did not know which Gary was going to come out, but he grabs her and then he starts to kiss her, right? And we already knew that this was about to go down. That pent up energy sometimes just gets you in a place that you don't need to be. And to be honest, like when she jumps up, he jumps up and he grabs her on the shoulders. I was like, here we go. And the next thing you know, they all lipped up and clicked up. You see what I'm saying? So I guess we'll find out shortly what's about to go down with that one. But that's pretty much the end of the episode. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this one. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. This one was pretty decent. This episode was pretty decent, y'all. I will say that. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit that's going down right here. Tomorrow night, be on the lookout for Bruh. I got a brand new episode of Bruh coming out, and then also another episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's Ruthless. All right, talk to y'all soon. Peace.